It's an honor to be here today with such dignitaries and change makers and friends. But I do want to apologize. Normally when I'm speaking to a room of jet setters, my goal is to teach you tricks on how to fly for free and get upgraded. I am happy to stick around after and help you use your frequent...
people.
Yes, exactly. So for those of you who have no idea what the points guy is, especially in America, we're obsessed with loyalty programs, credit cards. And about 15 years ago, I was a corporate road warrior, and I decided to start a blog. I bought a $10 domain and started sharing my tips on how people can save money, get the best credit card. And fast forwarding now, 15 years later, 80 million people will visit my site. We've got 150 employees, millions of views on social media, and we can meaningfully impact change where people visit, beautiful countries like Armenia and Costa Rica. And at the core, I do believe that tourism is a force for good. It's 10% of our global GDP, and when we do it right, we can change the world. But about four years into my journey, I was suffering from burnout. And this is just a quick little story about doing good in the world is good for business. So I hit a point as my company was growing from a tiny little blog to, oh wait, this is a big business, and I'm in front of the camera trying to grow it. I had a real moment of burnout. Social media is very exhausting. So not just being an entrepreneur, but one who's putting himself in social media. And there were moments when I thought I would switch away from this. I needed a real fire that would light me up. And once you get money in New York City, you can go to fancy galas. And I looked to my friends and I said, surely this isn't, many people are fine with that, but I always wanted something more. And I wanted my company to align with the cause that we believe in, that travel can change the world. So I started looking for organizations, and serendipitously, I got introduced to Peace Jam. And when I heard about Peace Jam, I got chills down my spine. It was the notion of Nobel Peace Prize winners banding together to help educate the next generation of change makers, young people across the world who would participate in a year-long program that would culminate with incredible laureates like Tawakkol doing this rousing weekend-long conference. The one problem they had was that travel's really expensive, and unfortunately to developing countries in Africa, it can be exorbitant. So a Denver-based charity like Peace Jam simply couldn't afford logistically to send the laureates, frankly, where they're needed the most in the world, where the youth didn't have the resources like many of our chapters in the United States. So that's when I had my moment, and we immediately, and I'm just going to give a couple tips because the business community has to team up. We have the funds, we have the power, and just a couple ways that 11 years later, the Peace Jam partnership with my company, with others, is growing. And this is a time, and to me, as I think about what compassion is, it is peace, and it is the youth, and arming you to help solve all the problems that our generations have saddled on your community. Number one, I would say, is what has made this successful is building the partnership into the core of the brand. So instead of just doing a one-off partnership, we're going to donate a portion of proceeds, we developed what we call Points for Peace, where our millions of readers who had points could donate them to help fund Peace Jam. We went out to our partners, credit card partners, airlines. Hey, United Airlines, we have a huge chapter in Ghana, and you just launched a new route to Ghana. Why don't you donate some of those seats to help bring Peace Jam staff around the world? And then in turn, we can help promote you authentically. That has been a huge success. Our partners, our fans see it, and they know that it's authentic. And a second piece, because ROI is important in the corporate world, everyone, you need to see, is this really paying off? And it is important to be accountable. But I think business leaders often have a hard time justifying what is the impact of saving, and sending a young person in South Africa, we now send them to college. Well, how does that impact the community? Us on the front lines, when we see the change that makes, and that one person going to college can then impact an entire community as a nurse. So it's hard to put that into corporate numbers. What I recommend is engaging your employees. So, and doing year-long initiatives. So with Peace Jam, we have youth all around the world. So our employees have an option to mentorship. So they do Zoom mentorship with high schoolers around the world. It can be personal, it can help them prepare for college. And then those employees who are the most engaged and top performers at the company, we take them to the peace conferences, and we have even usually a dinner with the Nobel Peace Prize winner. So what I can do is poll our top employees, our top performers who are making the company so much money, And retention is critical these days for top talent. This has become the #1 way that I can say to the corporate overlords that now own my business that this is good for business. So yes, we're doing good in the world and we're doing what we should, but hey, keeping the top employees, because I can poll my employees after every trip and get real metrics that matter. And finally, I'll just say that it does take leadership. You know, in negotiations for me to stay on as CEO, I said I want a percentage of profits to put towards, because I don't want to every year, if a new person in power doesn't understand what we're doing, if you want me, here's what's going to come along with me, which is including these efforts in Peace Jam, because we need to give multi-year long commitments. And I'll just have to, you know, at the end, everything is controversial these days. It's sad that even when I say the word peace, people immediately think, what side are you on? Or, you know, and so I think, you know, we need to take out the, you know, compassion is not controversial. And I think compassion is needed now more than ever, especially in the corporate world. So thank you all for having me today, and safe travels.